Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky was born on April 25th, May 7th, New Style, 1840, on an estate in Votkinsk, an industrial town in Udmurtia, 60 kilometers from Izhevsk. This is where the story of one of the greatest composers in the history of music began. The Tchaikovsky family lived in house number 1 on Gospodskaya Street, a building built specifically for the executives of the Kamovokins plant. At the age of 5, little Petya could already play the piano. By the age of 8, he could read sheet music fluently and compose his first melodies and poems. He said he heard music in his head so intensely that his parents feared for his sanity. When forbidden to play, he would tap out melodies on the window pane, and once with his finger, he struck it so hard that it cracked. From his youth, Tchaikovsky was a true dandy. He spent money on clothes and often visited the shops on Kuznetsky Most, the main fashionable street of the 19th century. He spoke fluent French and a fair amount of Italian. In 1861, he traveled throughout Europe as a translator and secretary. Tchaikovsky enjoyed growing exotic fruits, such as lemons and pineapples, in greenhouses. He also loved mushroom picking, an activity that aided his creativity. After lunch, he would invariably take a 2-hour walk with a notebook to jot down musical ideas. By the late 1880s, Tchaikovsky had become a world-renowned musical star. In 1891, he conducted the opening of Cornet Hall in New York City. His performances were sold out. In his final years, he settled permanently in Klin, a quiet town near Moscow that reminded him of his childhood in Votkinsk. There, he opened a school with his own money and donated funds for its upkeep. His house in Klin became the composer's final resting place. In his most productive work, there was his 6th Symphony, the Pathetic, a work into which he said he poured, without exaggeration, his whole soul. He also wrote his 3rd piano concerto. He completed the ballet The Nutcracker. This period marks the culmination of Tchaikovsky's creative life. In the living room of the house stands the original Jacob Becker grand piano at which Tchaikovsky worked. The instrument has retained its sonority and is played today during tours and concerts. Visitors can hear how the music sounded from the composer's own hands. The Pathetic finale is particularly moving. Among the museum's exhibits is an antique conductor's baton that belonged to Felix Mendelssohn and Robert Schumann. Tchaikovsky received it as a gift and kept it as a relic. In the evenings, Tchaikovsky would walk along the railway to watch the express trains pass on the Moscow-St. Petersburg route. Klin stood on this main line, and the train, a symbol of movement and life, was a source of inspiration for him. Today, a monument to the composer stands at this spot near the railway station. Klin is more than just a house museum. The museum reserve includes the Maidanov estate, where Tchaikovsky lived from 1885 to 1888. He lived at the Frolovskaya estate until 1891, where he wrote his 5th Symphony and Sleeping Beauty. The Demyanov estate is a meeting place for his student Sergei Taneyev and a center for the intelligentsia. Tchaikovsky died on October 25th, November 6, 1893, at the age of 53 from cholera after drinking unboiled water at a restaurant. His funeral was funded by Emperor Alexander III. He is buried in the Alexander Nevsky Lavra in St. Petersburg, a necropolis of masters of the arts. His works, 10 operas, 3 ballets, and 6 symphonies, are performed every 5 minutes somewhere on the planet. His entire output fills 62 volumes.